the seagulls follow the shore, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
And as we say now in my country, they brought the buzz and they left the buzz in front of the goal.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along. It is Thursday night, and you know what that means. No, it's not Bustalgia because I'm on tonight. It is the Thursday night forum because Russell is still in the middle of his house move this week, so I'm filling in the driving seat. As you can see, got a panel of regulars from the T.N.F on tonight to help me out along the way. And of course, I'll need you viewers to help us out along the way because tonight, T.N.F is all about you guys. Obviously, we're in the middle of one of those international breaks that we all love so much. So is there much to talk about Celtic-wise? Well, that's where you guys come in. So make sure that tonight you get involved in those comments and help us out along the way. So yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in. So before we get started, I'll just quickly go round the panel. So David, we were a little bit late because what would T.N.F be without a David Logue technical problem? But as we found out, it usually just takes a wee turn it back off and turn it back on again. The universal fix for all IT problems. So now you've ironed that out. Welcome back on the T.N.F, mate. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, mate. When you started off that intro and you said, you know, what they expect, I was like, yep, yeah, I know what's coming here. So, yes, technical issues, but all resolved. Anybody could be an IT guy. Just turn that off and on again and you're ready to go. Easy peasy.
Oh, indeed. I used to be an IT guy in a previous job anyway, and that's pretty much the universal fix for it. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? That usually works all the time. Connor, how you doing, mate? Good to be back on the T.N.F.
I'm good, mate. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back on and just, was at the game last week and took my lovely lady to her first Celtic game, so, it's been all good.
Oh, good stuff, mate. Oh, it's still in cloud nine, mate. First Celtic game and misses. There you go. That's it, mate. It's meant to be. If she went there and enjoyed it, and what a Celtic team to take.
Oh, she was getting the ref mere abuse of me, so I'm going to put a ring on it. So
that's a keeper right there. There you go. That's it. And of course, what would the T.N.F be, guys? What would the first thing going to be about? The judge, Mark Kearney. How you doing, Judge?
I'm doing very well, mate. Yourself? How are you?
Aye, smashing, mate. Happy to be in the old driving seat tonight. So, I've not been on T.N.F in a wee while as well. So, yeah, Glad to be back on, and it should be another fun night on the old Thursday Night Forum. But yeah, folks, just a wee reminder, if you're brand new to the bus, obviously hit that subscribe button. We'd appreciate it massively. And of course, if you want to be notified when we go live, and we do go live a lot, then hit the wee bell notification. If you are a long-time viewer, then hit that like button. Come on, guys. It doesn't cost you anything. It only takes half a second to do. Smash that like button. Of course, as I said at the start of the show, tonight is all about you guys. We're going to need you to obviously get involved in the comments, give us some talking points tonight, especially when we throw it over to you guys. We've got a couple of things to go over, but yeah, there will come a point tonight where I'll be like, right, guys, get your questions in, get your points of view in. So that I would appreciate it massively. If you've got some good ones up your sleeve, throw them in there. And of course, share the link to the Boise Bus on any social media platform that you wish. Now, of course, you can head over to our sponsor, piesports.com as well. Get yourself a nice wee tasty 12.5% off with the code BUS1888. And I believe tomorrow is D-Day for the order of shirts, but as Russell said the other night, with this move going on at the moment, you could probably get away with ordering the old Boise Bus shirt a few days later. But yeah, if you need a wee reminder, here it is here. Ours have not arrived yet. They are in transit. Russell said he posted them at the start of the week. We can expect them by the end of the week. So we're getting there. But yeah, Russell's also been modelling his when he's been on the show. But yes, there is right there, the Bumblebee-inspired Boise Bus shirt. But yeah, for the team, they are in transit just now. So if it arrives obviously tomorrow, I'll be sporting mine tomorrow night on Bustalgia. Looking forward to getting our hands on it anyway. It looks a belter. So guys, now that all the good stuff is out the way, let's get started on the T.N.F. So as I say, it's an international break, so it's not the best of times because, you know, we want to talk about, we want all the Celtic news, you know, when the domestic stuff gets held up a wee bit, you know, you can find a wee lull in news. So try to find some talking points to get it started. Obviously on Monday night, or at the start of the week, we had the rumours swirling around about on Liel Abada and so forth. And obviously Russell and Jonathan dissected that on the Tuesday, Monday, whatever day it wants to be club. They obviously went over that one. But yeah, obviously people are now speculating Abada's future. Where does it lie? Will he be here next season? If he goes, will Ange replace him with another player? Will he get reinvest the money? Or we do like to throw a wee grenade out there sometimes on the bus. So David Logue, we're going to go round from clockwise here. I've seen a name doing the rounds on some other Celtic pods and in chats and stuff like that on Twitter. Now, I already know my feelings on this, but I want to get the rest of the team. I've seen people talk about Mikey Johnston. What's his future got? Because apparently last night, he had a bit of a blinder when he came on for Highland. I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights of it, but I have seen some names in chats of other pods and stuff championing this could be Mikey Johnston's chance. How do you feel about that one? Is that a tingle your party spuds a wee bit?
Mikey Johnston will be at Hibs next season, man. That's what he'll be. If I'm being honest, that's. I mean, I don't see Mikey Johnston getting another chance at Celtic. He must have the most chances. It's like a cat. He's got 9 lives. I know. I've not seen any of the game, but I did see the wee clip of the wee dribble that he managed to do, and then of course I don't think there was any end product to that. So it's pretty much a Mikey Johnston cameo as you'd expect, all tricks, and you know there was no real end product. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there was loads of potential for that boy, but I mean, how long does the potential how long do you give a guy before you go, it's no longer there's potential there, and it's maybe his ceiling's been hit. Could you do well at a club like I said, Hibs, sort of bit of tongue in cheek there, but you know, at the same time I could see him being a Hibs player next season. I think I don't see him going anywhere near any higher than a English Championship level sort of player, if I'm honest. I know from what I've seen on Twitter that he seems to have done all right in Portugal, but I don't think he's done anything that would suggest that he would walk straight back into the Celtic side. Personally, I wouldn't be fussed to see him back. You know, I wouldn't be fussed to see the back of him.
Yeah.
If the manager is going, well, actually, he's done what we asked him to go do in Portugal, and we are going to give him a chance, and I'll trust Ange's judgment on it. But then I also trust that Ange would make the right decision come the end of the transfer window, whether he's here or not. I'm not overly fussed if he's not.
Yeah, well, Connor Monty comes in here saying Mikey Johnston still has a part to play at Celtic. He just needs to go out on loan to gain belief and get some time in the legs. Remember, McGregor and Christie developed after going out on loan. What I would say to that, and where I would disagree, is for like Christie, had only played like a handful of games. I think McGregor played a first team game. Johnston has had his moments in the first team, especially under Neil Lennon when Lennon first came back for that second tenure. Johnston got a real chance. I think Ange has loaned him out. That's just personally my opinion. I think he's loaned him out just to try and hopefully get him a move full time. If he has a good run in this Portuguese club, it might attract interest. Because I think if Ange did rate him, I think he would have kept him around. What about yourself, Connor? Do you think, this loan was designed to send him out and bring him back, or the ultimate end goal here is we want to try and get him a move?
I think it's the latter. I think it's get him a move. I think, see, just because he comes on and dribbles past a couple of Latvian farmers, if you think he's good enough for Celtic, I think you're the biggest fucking dribbler gone. I don't think just because he can do that for a cameo for Ireland, I don't think so. No. He's not getting in our Abada, he's not getting in our Maeda, he's not getting in our Jota, he's not getting in our James Forrest, in my opinion, who I think's done. No chance.
Yep.
Either, and the reason why we give him a contract extension is because we would probably want some money for him, probably want some dosh. Simple as. Extend his contract before he goes out on loan, has a good loan, get money for him. It's pretty simple maths, in my opinion. No chance at Celtic for me. I'd happily see the back of him. I wouldn't lose any sleep where I'm going. So, no chance for me.
Yeah, if he wants to get another loan move, maybe it will be another SPL club, so he can't play against us, but maybe do some damage against our opposition. And Ian McIntosh here, Mark comes in just saying MJ has parallels to Jota, having to leave his beloved Benfica to progress his career. I think that's the case now with Johnston. I think it's pretty much written in the stars. What about yourself, Mark? Definitely. Are you passing judgment on Mr. Johnston? No chance, son.
The only link he's got to Jota is they both played football. I mean, that's the only link to it. I mean, one's brilliant, one's shite. He's dug me, you know what I mean? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, he spent 3/4 of his time at Celtic trying to score a goal to try and give yourself confidence. So at what point do you realise you've just not got it, son? I actually think Celtic gave O his shirt number.
Yes, they did.
You're right, you did.
Well, I think if you're still part of a squad on loan and Celtic sign a full-time player and give him your shirt number, I think there's something... there's a hint in there. I mean, there's a clue in there to what Celtic see your long-term future being. He'll be away in the summertime unless he drags out his contract. And I don't think you go to, is it Victoria Guimarães or something? He went to something
Victoria
like that.
Guimarães, yep.
I don't think you go there to win a place at Celtic. I think if Celtic really wanted to keep you in their team, they would send you to like a team that's sitting at the top of the league and just say maybe even the Championship or a league similar standard where they're fighting for the promotion or they're dominating the ball. Otherwise, what's the point sending you on loan? You've got to be part of the same sort of brand of football for the loan deal to work, or at least for the manager to see how you cope with the pressures of being at a team that demands high intensity football and a winning mentality. I think Rodgers, Lennon, John Kennedy for his 10 games and now Ange Postecoglou, they've all not fancied him, you know what I mean? And I think he's 23, maybe something like that. At what point do we stop saying players are young?
Yeah.
Stop saying players have got potential. No, I think the clue is already there. I think if I played for Celtic and I moved out on loan and they gave my shirt number to somebody else, I would know fucking 100% I'm not coming back. And we'll just strike that off as another Stephen Craney, another Jamie Smith, another Ross Wallace, another rhyme around them off on all day. They're just some players that will have a photograph of a framed Celtic shirt in their wall and tell their ways they played for Celtic for a few matches, and he's definitely one of them. I think the guy's fucking dumb, mate.
Let's try and ship him off to Italy. They seem to be up for taking any Scottish talent at the minute. You know, you end up playing in Indonesia or something next season. You could see it. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Egypt, isn't it playing in Egypt? Fuck's sake, he's rotten. Fuck's sake. I did see that clip that Connor mentioned. I seen it on Twitter, and I don't know how the rest of these 90 minutes went. I really think Ireland are dug meat or not, to be honest with you. I think they're even worse in Scotland just now, so I'm not entirely sure what makes you stand out at that level of opposition against, like Connor just said, it was Latvia. I mean, Latvia. I think the Boise Bus could pull together a team to play them.
Good thing we've got a kit coming then, so we can stick.
Don't pick me.
We would look good in it, so we would at least. I mean, not for me. I think it'd be after Michael Jackson and Mikey Johnston, mate. To be honest with you.
No, that's fair dues. I say it's just a name that I'd seen floating about, and I genuinely forgot he was still on our books. But I thought, well, basically, my opinion is pretty much the same. Where it's like I just feel like the loan move, I think it's designed to get him a full-time move somewhere to get him in the shop window. Essentially, I can't really see it, but there's still a few people in the chat that think that's everyone's gift to think different. It's all about opinions on the bus. Now, let's of course go back to the route as to why this has also been talked about. As Grayson Hazeldean said here, morning boys, Angelo not Borthway agents, Abada up the ante. So obviously we're talking about the obviously Abada, these whole stories. So as I say, the boys, Russell and Jonathan, they've had their say on it. So in regards to when I heard the story, originally first thought that crosses your mind as well. We do have some big games on the horizon against a certain opposition. This is par for the course. These type of things do happen. But obviously there have been some parallels drawn. Some people have pointed it out in our chat, in our pods chat, or our pods we're talking about it, seen on Twitter. There has been obviously a few players recently where it seems like the club have entered some sort of contract negotiation with them. They've not accepted it and they've been quickly out the door. Obviously, I'm talking about Juranovic and Giacomakis. Is Abada going to follow suit with that one? Is there even any substance in this? I found it quite interesting. It may be a bit of lazy journalism when the story came out that the team, of course, that he's linked with is Southampton, because Southampton take all the players. But here's the thing, Southampton aren't even guaranteed Premier League football next season. They are, I believe, still bottom of the Premier League, David. Do you know for that off the top of your head? Because I know they were down in
certainly
trouble.
In the bottom three. I'll confirm that for you just now. I'm pretty sure. I think you're sure they are.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like this whole Southampton about to test Celtic's Robert Abada's resolve with prospect Premier League football. But they've not got any guarantees of Premier League football. But that's the thing about this one. Is it just all pie in the sky, unsettled and whatnot? Is there actually some substance in this? Personally speaking, my feeling is if Abada was to leave, I think I said the other night in the chat in the Monday club or the Tuesday club, like if he goes, so be it.
Bottom.
They are bottom. They are. I trust Ange in terms of evolving this squad, and as long as we see some kind of reinvestment to keep the squad moving the way it is, this will be it. I do take Russell's point though, and it may be a fair one, David, where when Ange made it quite public about if players don't want to be here, then essentially he essentially said I won't essentially stand in their way. Did he kind of make it a bit easy for clubs that are prying on our players to go, well, they're not going to put up a fight, are they? So what's your feelings on that? Because I thought that was quite a good way of looking at it. But me personally speaking, if Abada did go, as long as we see reinvestment, and I do trust Ange will reinvest well because he's got a lot of aces up his sleeve essentially. But do you think that was a mistake to say that publicly?
Yeah, I take Boyce's point. Yeah, it is a very good point because, like you say, it then almost alerts clubs to go, all right, okay, let's just see how strong his word really is on that situation. But I feel like that maybe isn't such the case I think we've got certain brackets of players and they sit in these sort of brackets, and I think Jota, Carter Vickers and Kyogo Hatate are in one bracket where that's maybe not so much the case. And maybe say Abada is in a bracket where it's like, well, we've got him under contract is it a 5-year contract he's on, and he is our second top goal scorer this season, and he's not even a starter. You're coming in with a 10 million bid, and he's not one of our main guys. You're almost like, okay, I'm almost happy to allow that to happen if that means that you're staying away for the likes of my Jotas and my Hatatis. You can almost go, right, I mean, if we're getting 10 million for a bit part player who's bangs in the second most goals at the club, and it doesn't take away the real spine of the club, your Carter Vickers, your Jotas, your Kyogos, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, to go back to your original question, I think maybe Ange showing a little bit too much of his hand to the other clubs. It's maybe Ange is a very good poker player, and it's all just part of the game.
It is. Well, we did say, Connor, in that AGM last year about, don't get too attached to these players, essentially warning you because it's all going to be part of the process. The word process gets used a lot nowadays in football. But how would you feel if if this turned out to be true and Abada did move on in the summer? Are you in the same boat as myself where as long as it gets reinvested and we can see right away that the player coming in is equal to or even better than, then it's all fine, it's all sunshine and rainbows? Or would you still rather just stick with what we already know with Abada and still think there's a good bit of mileage still to go there with the lad?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword for me. I'd obviously be a lot more happy to see Abada go than the likes say Hatatis, Kyogo's, or George Carvickers, but I don't want us getting shafted on a price for a young, talented winger who's been banging in goals against everybody and who looks, really, really talented, who has room to grow. You see players like that, and I know it's linked to the Premier League. I think 10 million for a player like Abada who's got, I think, 4 years still left in his contract. 10 million's a fucking insult. I'm sorry, 10 million's a fucking insult. I don't care that, players like Juranovic and Giacomakis were away, because by footballing standards, they were probably in the latter half of their career, the late 20s coming up to their 30s. Abada's only 21. He's got at least another 10 years plus in the game. So with development and so on and so forth. So accepting a low ball offer for me isn't acceptable. That's what I said a couple of weeks ago in the pod, saying, if we are having to lose players, we should, make sure that we're getting the right amount to reinvest this, because if we get 10 million back and then we're only going to spend 2 or 3 of it on a player who, maybe looks apart, but like players like Bernabe, they can, have come to a bit of pedigree and pay a decent fee for them, but they might not suit the system well. And you look at, how well Abada's still plays, how well he plays against them, the games he said against Rangers. The other week we were 1-0 down against St Mirren and he came on and absolutely took that game by the scruff of the neck. So I feel he's still got a massive part to play in this team and can contribute a lot. It's just, if he does go and if he's not happy, then, I feel that we need to get, what we're owed and what we deserve for a player of that, stature and that quality, especially at that age. But the thing I'll have to ask is, why would Celtic be offering him a contract negotiation when he's got 4 years left in the middle of a season? I don't see why that makes sense. I don't know why that would be coming up. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if, like I said before, this is the media stirring things up, because as we've seen already this week, they're back in the press again saying, we're going to show you where the real Rangers are, and the gap's closed. The gap's closed, and the gap's not that big. We're going to give it to you next time, and look, Ange might be getting the Tottenham job. Oh no, it's going to be Thomas Frank. your fears are eased. You're like, we're only fearing to begin with, you fucking dicks. He's talking about, but no, it's just, on one hand, for me, I think everything that comes out the media's mouth in regards to stuff like this is just, shenanigans and trying to unsettle their players and unsettle their manager in the club, because, that's the only way they can get close to us now. On the other hand, if it does happen, I really want us to get some decent compensation for a player like Abada if he does leave.
Yeah. Oh, the noisy neighbours being noisy. Well, I never imagine that. Not like them at all. But Mark, let's pick up on something that Connor's talking about, again, value. I saw something that was said in the Boise Bus chat by yourself the other day. It may actually be in reply to Connor, but we're talking about value, because when I said my piece in the bus, I was talking on the bus chat, I said about, obviously, the Giacomakis and Juranovic thing. When it comes to teams from the English Premier League in particular, a money league like that, they're always thinking of the next sale. And 28, even though it's not old to us, they're still definitely in the prime of their career. Things like that can go against players in the modern game. So my feeling was, Giacomakis and Juranovic, in our eyes, I think they were worth more. But sadly for buying clubs, they're always thinking of the next move. And 28 to them gives them no selling value. But Abada still is in that category of under 24s. But I say there's something that you said the other day in the chat where it was like, well, we judge a lot of our players based on, they're playing against teams like Aberdeen and so forth and Motherwell. And it's like, can we really be expecting, if Abada was sold, if this turned up to be true, can we actually expect a Kieran Tierney-esque fee, or, between 10 and 20 million? Would that even be too much to ask? Or are we looking at something closer to what maybe Giakoumakis went for between the sort of Giakoumakis and Juranovic bracket?
Well, I think your Kieran Tierney's and your Edward deals, they are the exception to the rule rather than the rule itself. We don't habitually get tens of millions of pounds for players, you know what I mean? I think the players we get sold for 20, 25 million are really top athletes, you know what I mean? Real guys at the top of their game. I think Kieran Tierney had world class written in him for the day he arrived at probably 10-year-old at Celtic Park, but I just don't think that. I mean, you look at teams like Motherwell, St Mirren, Kilmarnock. They're buying players for the Conference League in England. Let's be realistic here. The windows they shop in is the Conference League in England, maybe League One. Some of them will maybe get a player for League One. That's the majority of their squad is that kind of level, and these players make an impact in Scottish football. And I hate anybody that says Scottish football is a farmers' league. And that's just totally disrespectful. It's a lot better than what some people think. It's a lot better, and hence why we had a team in the European final just last season. Hence why Celtic are able of playing a team, earn 90 minutes, and giving most teams a good game. So I just put that aside. That's a stupid opinion of the league, but it's not a very high standard, mate. The league itself is pretty poor. You know what I mean? How many times this season, and 2 or 3 times I walked away from a Celtic game, I'm giving the other team, I'm actually giving them praise for trying. I've literally got to the stage now where I'm praising teams for trying. Yeah. That is how bad the league is just now, you know what I mean? And it's no harm to them because Celtic have just got an absolute dynamite manager, a squad that nobody else can compete with. And if I was sitting and I was on the board at Southampton and I was saying, this guy's got severe potential, and you'd be going, 20 million, you could buy a player for Holland that's played maybe, I don't know, 100 games in the Eredivisie for £20 million. I mean, Bassey was the dearest defender that Ajax ever bought in his pants. That just shows you the amount of money that players are getting signed for in Holland, you know what I mean? I don't think Scotland's at that level where you think a guy who's performing at a very high level against Kilmarnock and Dundee and Blackney-Cudden, you know what I mean? Let's be honest here. And there's guys like Hatate who I think will show up in any league. I think Hatate can play. I think he could play in the Premier League. At what level of team, I don't know. But Hatate could play in the Premier League. And I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 others that could play in the Premier League at Celtic. And I just don't know where Abada fits in. I think the guy's got a lot of potential. But I tell you something, see if I was a manager, I would be saying to myself, he's that good that he's most probably 3rd choice at Celtic. Maybe even 4th choice if you think Haksabanovic can play there as well. Yeah. So you'd be saying to yourself, I think Abada does get a lot of game time. He's the most used player at Celtic I've seen. He's played every match. So I don't think he can have too many complaints considering the fact that he's still only 21, as Connor says. I mean, how many chances do you actually want to impose yourself into a team? Mm-hmm. I think he's a better impact player than he is a sub. He's a player I really like, actually. I think when we play Rangers, I think he should always be getting at least 30 minutes. I really like the guy. Mm-hmm. He scored 4 goals against that mob, and he's. Mm-hmm. I think they must give him nightmares. He must give him.
Barisic in particular, yes.
Barisic, he ghosts in. They call him the ghost character on that football cartoon on Twitter. But I don't know, mate. I think as a Celtic fans, we want to get £25 million for any player, and we'll say, man, you signed this guy for Chelsea and he's shite, and he was 50 million. I know, but see that guy for Chelsea, he played 100 games for Chelsea, probably won the Champions League, and probably beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu and all. You know what I mean? Let's get real here. You know what I mean? I wish teams would give us the money we deserve for players, because I don't think Celtic want to spend £1 and get a fiver's worth, right? That's the way Celtic play. But you can't have it both ways. I mean, if you're wanting to get more money, than the players are worth when they're buying a player, then the opposite is going to happen to you when you're selling a player. You're not going to get the market value, which you probably think. And I think as Celtic fans, we've got to get out of this situation. I don't think just because Ange said it, that we've all got to sit down and think it's a good idea for Celtic to sell their best players. I mean, I wasn't a big Juranovic fan, but the people had the bunting out that Juranovic was getting sold, Giakoumakis was getting sold, and people were saying, but Ange warned us. Because Ange warned us, we want to be delighted that we're selling our best players. I don't think that's the case at all. I'm disappointed to see your best talent leave. And I hate this way just now, Celtic fans. They play 2 good games, and automatically the first thing we do is put a price tag on them. No, let's just see this guy develop and forget how much they're worth. And let's be honest here. See if they get £100 million from them tomorrow. Do you think we're going to spend a quarter of that to replace them? No, we spend £4 million to replace them. So it doesn't matter really how much we get. We get £50 million in the bank, and we'll still spend fucking £10 million this summer. So it doesn't matter really. Let's be quite honest. We don't get any trophies for winning most money in the bank award. We don't.
Yeah. The balance sheet CFC.
As a throwaway statement, I want Celtic to make as much money as possible. And I think they're doing a good job at with all this Adidas stuff, for bringing it left, right, and centre. But I'm just saying, I think the money, I think Celtic's philosophy is get as much money as possible. And that's not going to change, mate. But you can only sell the players for what other teams are want to pay, I'm afraid.
Phil, the reality is Southampton's apparently the club that are interested in signing them. I personally think I'm totally on agreement with everything that Mark's just said. However, if Abada goes to a struggling Southampton side, I genuinely believe he'll get lost in the shuffle there. I think he's a far better impact player at the minute. He's still got plenty of development to do, and I think he's at the right club to do it. Let's put this into perspective, though, Connor. We're talking about starting bids. If we'd want at least 15 million for this guy, Southampton signed Romeo Lavia, who's an 18-year-old defensive midfielder for Manchester City. Never kicked a ball for the first team, for £12.3 million. They also signed Samuel Edozie, another Man City 18-year-old, never kicked the ball for Southampton. For Man City, for £8 million. And they signed a goalkeeper from Man City's under-21 side, never kicked a ball for City, £14 million in that one transfer window. But it's unfortunately the waters that we live in right now, or we swim in right now, we can't. A player like Abada just doesn't command that kind of price tag at the moment. We can go through all the goals that he scored for us this season. This season alone, he scored obviously against Rangers and the likes of Motherwell, St Mirren, and he scored against Iceland in a friendly game for Israel. He didn't kick a ball for us against Madrid. Fair enough, it was Madrid. Leipzig, the Champions League, he didn't make an impact like the likes of an Edward, a Kieran Tierney, a Dembele, a Wanyama. These guys that went over the 10 million price tag, the 25 million price tag, they all had an impact in European football. Unfortunately, at the minute, Abada hasn't done that. And Southampton would rather spend £12 million on a player that's never kicked the ball just because he's in Manchester City's books than paying for a player that's our second top goal scorer. It's just the reality that we live in at the minute. And I'm exactly the same as Mark. I'll stick up for the SPFL as much as I possibly can. I love our league. It's just madness. Could the quality be there? Could the quality be so much better? Absolutely. But unfortunately, at the minute, it isn't. And the other leagues, such as the Premier League, don't care what we do. Until the players start making an impact in Europe, I don't think we'll see a £10 million player. I don't think we'll see a £10 million sale of like the likes of an Abada, unfortunately. But that's just the reality. Just looking at the Southampton's transfer window in the summer, they're absolute madness. I remember them discussing it in the window, talking about pundits being absolutely mortified at the prices, at the money being spent on players that hadn't even kicked the ball from City. And look where they're sitting, bottom of the table. Yeah,
it reminds me of when I think the season Bournemouth finally got relegated under Eddie Howe after a few years. I think they spent like 20 million on Jordan Ibe, who'd only played a handful of games for Liverpool, and Nathan Ake for 15, 16 million, and he'd only played a handful of games for Chelsea. And there was, Ryan Brewster, who was a Liverpool youngster that went to Sheffield United for about 20 million quid and that. And it's like, I've seen what Sheffield United also paid 20 million for Ollie McBurney, so that's all that needs to be said on that one. But yeah, the prices down there are absolutely obscene. And by the way, just a comment as well. I'm not going to bring up the original comment this relates to, but Brown Warrior, you naughty boy, I know if you saw the comment that Brown Warrior is replying that to, you have put some bad visions in people's heads, my friend. I'll tell you guys off air what it was about, but it will haunt your nightmares forevermore. Now, let's have another grenade. Let's have a controversial one, David Logs. I'm coming to you first again. Let's put a word that we don't hear too often with this Celtic team, but Declan CFC 1997 has asked, who's the weakest link in the starting 11? I say the word weakest doesn't really go hand in hand with this Celtic team. I have a funny feeling many people are going to want to instantly say Joe Hart, but I would stick up for him because Joe Hart is a goalkeeper. His first job is to keep the ball out of the net. Does he keep the ball out of the net very well? Yes, he does. Look at the save he had at Tynecastle just the other week when we were under the cosh for a spell, still at 1-0. I know maybe he's not as good with his feet to fit Ange's system, but as an actual goalkeeper, his first job, I think he's pretty good. But I have a funny feeling that question instantly will get people going, oh, Joe Hart. But when I think about it, I don't have an answer just now for that one. I'm going through the strongest starting 11 in my head, and I'm like,
I'm taking you back to one of our Sunday Blethers, and I think I posed the question: are we clutching at straws when we're saying that Joe Hart is the weak link in our Celtic
I think
team?
so.
And I think I still stand by that. I think we are just clutching at straws if we're going to pick a Joe Hart, because there's like we discussed on the Sunday Blether cheap plug that it's that argument doesn't almost stand up when you really look. You take a deep dive into what he's contributed overall this season. That is a hard one, mate.
I think this is probably going to be the most common name. Brown
I do that. See, this is the thing, right? I am almost going at the tip of my tongue saying, "Don't say Starfelt, don't say Starfelt," because I've been sticking up for him since the beginning of this podcast. But
yeah, me too. I like Starfelt and all, but I understand why he's going to get mentioned.
You know what's funny? It's the way I'll try and describe this is because I think I've got a feeling. Well, I mean, he's not in the starting lineup that often, but I think I know what Mark's answer is going to be. But it's almost subjective in the way as like how you almost where do you want this the strongest part of the team to be, and that makes you start to decide. Go, well, maybe it is the goalkeeper, or maybe it's Moy because he's not fast enough. The little things that you like to see.
Yeah.
There's little individual things that you like to see that Celtic are doing, like the fast pace football. Well, Moy doesn't really bring us that, so maybe he's the weakest link. And people maybe who like that will say Moy, but then people will say, but what Moy brings to the table, you don't get from a Starfelt. Like the rashness, the no calm head there, whereas Moy will bring you a sort of calm, stable. Flow to the game, and that then makes it such a difficult question. I'm reluctantly going to say Starfelt just because as much as I love what positives he brings to the team, he does the rashness and maybe the not so street smart moments that he's brought in his performances. I'm going to have to, and I'm really clutching at straws when I say that too, because it's such a difficult one. I think we've got such a consistent over through the whole starting 11, it's a very consistent team, flowing movement almost. There's very little weak links in the chain. Very difficult to.
Well, Ian McIntosh says there, the strength is the team, not so much the individuals in it.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of describing that, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off and I'm going to let you come on the podcast because you do a far better job in a much smaller, condensed way.
But I'll bring up some of the suggestions. So, Connor, how does this one hit you? Kieran's come into saying, probably Maeda, come on, he's going through a bit of form, but he's minced, to which Kimchi Strider then replies, no chance, Kieran. So the debate is going already. But Maeda, what do you think about that one? Because before that World Cup, Maeda was very much a player that he was a bit of a Marmite player where people either loved him or they're like, hated him. There was no middle ground to Maeda. But now, since World Cup, I feel like everybody in the fan base are very, very on side with Maeda. But is it just a case of he's just having a purple patch and this will eventually disappear, or is this now Maeda going forward?
Well, not necessarily, because I think he had a good season last season as well. When he came in, he scored in his first game as soon as he came in. 3 minutes in, he chipped in the goals here and there, and was he's brilliant defensively as well, as opposed to all the other wingers, in my opinion. I think he can come in and out. He can have really bad games. I think the worst game I've seen him in was when his worst performances were against Rangers in the League Cup final. I think he just was having a bad game that day. But I think the reason that people don't rate him is because we've never really had a player like Maeda before. Like he's all over the joint, man. He's mad. He runs a bit daft. He has the most crazy finishes that they're probably harder to score that way than it is if you got like a good correction or it. It's no, but I don't think he is the weak link in that team necessarily. A lot of folk would say, Joe Hart or Starfelt. I don't think Starfelt's bad. I think Joe Hart's, been excellent. I think people have. The only reason I think now is that I think people are forgetting because of how good it's been the past couple of years, how far we've came. A few years ago, we had Shane Duffy and Vasilis Barkas on our team. So, if you think we are having a bad, we've got weaknesses now, just go back to what we had before. I think just people just don't rate defenders with the number 4 on them now. It doesn't matter what Starfelt can do, how good he's been. I think he's been excellent this season. I think he's really good when our back's against the wall, just doing the dogged defending. I think that could, come in handy in the Champions League because we never really seen him and Carter Vickers with that partnership in the Champions League. It was always him and Jens or Jens and Welsh. Carter Vickers was injured and then Starfelt was injured. So, Hart, I think, has got at least another season in him, but I do think we need to find a backup goalie because I don't know how Seagrist is, and I think Bain's just stealing a wage. Maeda's fine for me. Honestly, the only weaknesses I can see are outside the starting 11, in my opinion, and those are in defence and midfield. And maybe, I think O's came in, so I don't know, but maybe get another striker. I think he's, came into a game. Looks like, do bits. Yep. I just think another left back, and I think maybe last season, I don't know how controversial this is going to be, but I think maybe when he came in last season, I think maybe Matt O'Reilly's flattered to receive because he got this move for MK Dons to a team like Celtic where he was, running up and down a local park to get himself fit to try and play football again. And he's came to Celtic and he's like, fuck, I've got to proper work my arse off here. He's come into Andy's system and he did really well. But in this season, I feel like maybe he is showing that, he is that player we got for League One for only like $4.5 million. But maybe he's just going through a bad patch. I have no idea. But, it's really difficult because I think every player in that starting 11 for defence to attack are all, like the way I've said it before, cogs in a machine or like in a clock. They all work in unison perfectly together, and I think they all do exactly what they need to do to get the job done. I know there's Ian McIntosh comments said earlier, they are working well as a team. It's not so much the individuals, it's the team is the strength. And it's a hard question. It's a very, very hard question. Judge, if you get any opinion on this, or do you feel that the names have been covered really that is in the starting 11 that would fall in that category, if anybody does fall in that category for you?
No, not much better to add, to be honest with you, mate. I think it's been labelled a wee bit there.
No worries. Nah. Well, we'll go to this one then, because this is obviously in relation to Starfelt went off injured the other week against Hearts, but he seems to obviously he's recovered since then. But Kobayashi did come on in that game when we were a little bit under the cosh at that point, still 1-0, wasn't it? Or 2-0. They were pushing to get back into it. But Kobayashi came on and looked okay into it. But personally speaking, to reply to Scott's question, my answer to that would be don't really want to be mixing up the centre-back pairing at this stage of the season with 9 games to go, I think it is now. We don't really want to be messing that up. But in terms of Kobayashi, though, Mark, do you think next season he is going to get more chances? And from the very small moments that we've seen him, do you think the future's bright for the lad? Or do you still think it's too early to have an opinion on him?
I've been quite impressed with the guy when I've seen him play, but I think we play a dangerous game quite a lot by not giving players game time when it's 3-4, 5-0 up, because what we find is when we lose our first team player, which we really rely on, we rely on somebody, we bring in somebody in for the cold, you know what I mean? And you go, right, well, they've played 3 games, they've been there for 6 months, and you go, Ange has made this squad just tick perfectly, and he knows far better than me, but I'm just saying, for me, when it's 4-5-0 up, I mean, or even 3-0 up at Celtic Park with half an hour to go, and why not bring these guys on to give them some game time? I really do not see the negative side of that, because what's the point in being on the bench for 10 games and not getting 1 minute when you could be instantly turned into the first choice player for 4 months should a bad injury happen? And like I was speaking the other day there. I mean, I don't want to go on about this point, but I really have got like severe doubts about whether a midfield of Moy and O'Reilly or Moy and Turnbull are going to be too slow against a team like Rangers. That's, in my opinion, that's just fact, right? But so I'm hoping that Awata's going to step in, but we've not saw a lot of the guy, and I feel like we could have seen a lot more of the guy considering some of the games we've played. We've been putting 5 and 6 past teams and 3 and 4 past teams. We've been pretty good form, and they're not getting on the park. It seems to be the same old subs, you know what I mean? And that's a one criticism, if I've even got one in hand, just that it doesn't give game time to players who are on the bench. Like, for instance, like, I'm a big critic of Bernabei, he's on know that, but he can last 5-6 weeks without getting 1 minute. You know what I mean? And then no wonder he's crap when he gets 25 minutes because Greg Taylor's come off injured. No wonder he's crap. He's not getting half an hour when it's 3-0. And maybe these injuries are getting picked up towards the end of the season would probably be lessened off with guys getting a wee bit of a breather when it is 3 or 4-0. And I think the fitness of your squad is phenomenal. I mean, we can all remember under Lennon, we were all hoping that when the players were going to international breaks that they would come back a bit fitter because they had better coaching and better diets, etc. I mean, that's how bad it was. I think I just got that down to a T. We look the fittest team in the country, I think, and so he knows far better than us. But that's my only criticism. I'd like to see a bit more of Kobayashi, and I'd like to see a bit more of Awata, especially because if there are two positions that we need to be like really covered in, I think Carter Vickers is the linchpin in the defence, and and if anything should happen to him, which I think hopefully it doesn't, right? But or even start it, we need somebody that's going to come in and has had maybe at least a couple of games, or at least 5-10 games under his belt in terms of appearances, not just somebody who's played half an hour against Raith Rovers and an hour against Aberdeen. You know what I mean? It's going to be more than that, in my opinion, anyway.
Aye, no, that's all fair. So we'll move on to another point I just want to bring up, and I'll obviously just say to the guys, in the comments, if you put in like a few talking points and so forth, I'll go over something I like to bring up as well on this show, just regarding pricing and merchandise and so on, because literally tonight we've seen that obviously Celtic are going to be launching some fancy new Adidas shoes as well as part of the whole partnership with Adidas. We saw a new Adidas kit launched as well. And speaking of Adidas, it's not just with Celtic they're doing it. What do you make, David Logue? And I know the answer already, but the new Scotland shirt, £90 it will cost you if you wish to buy that one. Adidas are at it, man, aren't they?
I mean, I've not bought. I don't think I've ever bought a Scotland shirt, if I'm honest. And when I seen that one, I thought, that's a really, really smart shirt. Like a really smart shirt. I thought they absolutely nailed it. And first time I've actually considered actually spending money on a Scotland shirt. And then when I seen the price of it, I just thought, nah, no chance. It's just not. They're just at it. That's the best way to describe it, is that they're just at it. And they know, obviously, people will buy it. Am I right in saying that people have like managed to snap up a bunch and they're sticking them up for even more?
What's happened, right? Because I was saying this to Phil before I came on. People found a code, right? They get a discount on it, taking it for £90, doing it £63. These dirty money-grubbing bastards at Adidas and JD, right? They've found, because I don't know why, stupidly folk are putting it all over Twitter, put in this discount code. You'll get it. You'll get your stuff for £60 instead of £90. Or I'll go and buy 2, right? Whatever. JD and Adidas now have found the folk that have used that code. They're now saying you're not getting your kit, and we're just sending you the money back. You either pay full price or you get none. So that's what these bastards are like. You know what I mean? Rinsing the fans.
Yeah.
And look, I know it's a Scotland shirt and this is a Celtic podcast, but it's disgusting.
Just the Adidas link, I just thought it was the
and look, you've got in the past 2 weeks, right? We've had Celtic release these kits with a throwback to the 90s. One of them, I think, was £70. the zippy, the quarter zip, was £100, right? We've got
£50 for shorts.
Aye, £50 for shorts. The new tricolour kit for the anniversary for celebrating Irish heritage was what, 65, 70 quid as well?
With 5 weeks to go, Connor. With 5 weeks to go this season, mate.
5 weeks to go, and we're probably never going to wear it. We might wear it once. And now, tonight, which is getting released tomorrow, we're releasing a pair of Sambas. And look, they'll probably look really nice, and I'd probably like a pair, right?
Oh, there you go, Brown Warrior Connor. Will you be buying the Celtic Sambas?
I'd probably like a pair, but they'll cost you. See if you think a quarter zip, they're going to charge £100 for that. What the fuck do you think they're going to charge for a pair of Adidas Sambas that have been done specifically for Celtic? They'll be about 150 quid, easy.
Yeah, but aren't all Sambas? I mean, I'm not a shoe fiend, but aren't all Sambas about that price, mate? Any limited edition Sambas that
no, Sambas and Superstars and that are, I think, 80 quid now if you're lucky.
I mean, I've seen these things. I've seen shoes going, these stupid shoes with the wee red love heart in the corner. People are paying up to 300.
Aye, they're no Adidas, mate. They're like a
I know, but my point in
in
saying is these limited edition shoes. There's guys out there that will. At the end of the day, it's a supply and demand business. And
right, because they're fucking virgins. I think buying a pair of special shoes.
I mean, I'm not going to judge folk for what they want to spend their money on, mate. If they want to buy a pair of fucking Sambas, whether it's
do you not think Adidas have rinsed? I've never seen a brand rinse a support like Adidas have done.
But people buy them, mate.
I don't know, but we'll find out. But I know Adidas has got us. I remember when
I don't necessarily mean
Man U,
I don't mean like the Celtic stuff, but I mean people buy Adidas because they like the brand. Like these zippies are really popular. So why would they not bring them? If they know the consumer, it's all about what the consumer wants. If a consumer is willing to pay for it, then why would you not as a brand? If I'm going to be putting out
but that's not the question. But David, the question isn't who's going to buy it. The question was Phil was. Are
they rinsing fans? Well,
they're definitely rinsing fans. Of course they are. And see, the point is, £90 for a Scotland tap. I mean, I think you need to be daft. I really do. It's a lovely tap. It's a beautiful top, but even though it looks a bit Rangers to me, but it's still a nice tap. It's a nice 90 quid. Come on, I mean, there'll be folk with 3 kids that need to buy 3 of them. Let's be honest. And
you see the ones that AC Milan and that are bringing out now, teams like Venezia and that, their kits are like €120 and that, mad prices. I think to get even just a bog standard Premier League kit now, I think it's like 80 quid, 90 quid when the season starts, when they release it. It's disgusting. These clubs and these manufacturers are absolutely ripping the arse at the fans. And look, I think the fucking Premier League fans deserve it for fucking selling their soul.
I can see Adidas, but Adidas are different for like Nike, Umbro and the rest of it. See the Adidas kit deals. So something happened. So it's just say you sign a 5-year contract, they get reviewed every year or something, and see that because I read this about Man U. So see the money that they've got. It's like some of it's guaranteed, some of it's not guaranteed, right? So and it goes on merchandise sold for year to year is how your contract actually works. And I read Adidas are the only supplier that do that because I think Man U were something. It was a couple of years back. I think Moyes was the manager. I read something about Adidas were trying to claw back money after Man U for something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but when I read the thing is Adidas always structure their contracts where there's a minimum amount of money you can get, but it's going to be year on year that gets reviewed on how much merchandise you sell. And maybe that's why Celtic are so happy just to say sell this. I mean, there's not been a month this season that they've not brought out some sort of new training range, a new jumper. And I watch sometimes I'll see like pictures on the Celtic website and I'll show you the players training, and they're never wearing the same. They're never wearing the same fucking training tap twice. You know what I mean? And you're going, if you were to buy them all, you'd be fucking about $4,000 a year just on shitey t-shirts. And I'll repeat it because I don't think I go to the Adidas stuff. It's all stick-on badges, very little weight sewed on. It's all cheap quality. As you said, Connor, I mean, £80 shoes, they probably get £110 for them. You know what I mean? There was that, remember that Scott Brown zipper? That exact tap with the Celtic badge on the website was something like 35 quid. Celtic were charging 80 quid for that, just because of the Celtic badge on it.
Right, I'll let you in a wee bit of industry secret here, right? See all your designer brands, right? I work for a company who supply and sell clothes and that, and workwear and stuff. See, like a t-shirt, like you're wearing a new bog standard t-shirt, like a training top list, right? See this, peanuts, mate. Absolutely fucking peanuts. And they'll just slap a badge on it, £200 for a t-shirt. Off-White will put some daft fucking design about, geez, £500. And daddies with too much fucking hair gel and who are out their mind on snus, I'll just buy it because they're fannies, mate. And look, fair play to them for being that much a demonic bastard that you can happily skin your customers for their full week's wages, but people are stupid enough to buy it. And you know, I wish that Celtic would try and, you know, during a cost of living crisis, go back to their charitable roots and say, are we taking the piss at the supporters here?
I think there's truth in that corner, definitely.
So, and you know, see if that kit they just put out there now, see if they were like 25-50% of the profits are going to go to charity. When you go, there you go. That's how you get the supporters on board. That's how you get supporters to invest into new kits, new training gear, all the rest of it. By giving something back.
Well, in relation to that kit, the Hallows asked if the tricolour kit available to sponsor. I've looked at the Superstore page while I've been listening to the boys there. It doesn't seem to be up for sale without the sponsor. I think we're pretty smart without it. But Mark said earlier on, though, like that the likelihood of even wearing that kit just quite slim. I mean, like 9 games left. How many away games are we likely to have a colour clash? And we can't wear it at Easter Road because it's green, so it'll clash with Hibs kit, and we won't wear there. But yeah, it's just modern football. Sadly, we were talking earlier on about Premier League prices. That's just, you know, the modern football when it comes to kits and stuff as well. It's no different. It's just all about money nowadays. Now, speaking though, we'll keep the topic on away kits because a wee bit of fun. Kimchi Strider obviously said, kit-wise, I just can't wait to see the back of the grey one. Get that fucking burnt. So here's a wee question. We'll go around the panel here. Panel, I can't believe that's that Monty's fault. He called his panel first time around, and it was like a bit of a joke now, but it was ingrained in my mind, sadly. So cheers for that, Monty. But favourite away kit, David, we'll do that then. Can we talk about good away kit instead of that grey one? Because I know it's going to be the hoops. You know, the hoops are the hoops. You know, they're always going to be that same sort of idea. But the away kit, you can have a wee bit of fun with it, different designs and so forth. What do you think? What's your standout favourite away kit in Celtic history?
I don't know if it was maybe a third kit. I might be wrong. I don't know why, but I really like that. Getting that yellow one that had the mental black. It was all over.
Oh, like zigzags.
It was. I think it was like the Gary Hooper sort of era.
Scott Brown won the league at Rugby Park. That one.
I thought it's like your sort of bumblebee yellow, like and then the black.
You
know, it's just a bit
across the front of it. Yep.
I like that one. I don't know why it just really stood out to me. I thought that's minted. And I got that one in long sleeve. I quite like that one.
When I saw it in person for the first time, I remember I saw the original pictures of it, like when it was debuted, and it was like the hoops going round it weren't all the same thickness. So one side the hoop was a bit thicker, and then in the middle it went into a thinner hoop. And when you looked at it from a distance, it looked like 4 panels. It was strange. It was like a weird optical illusion when you looked at it. When I saw it in person, I went, it's actually not too bad. But the first time I saw like the pictures of it, I was like, oh no, I'm not too into that one. But I know the one you're talking about. It's iconic for that 6-0 win down at Rugby Park and getting
that's the one.
Because that's the thing about away kits. You know, if you have like a stoting result in it, it'll live forever. You know, just always stick in the mind. What about yourself, Carl? What's your standout away kit in Celtic history?
I really like the one we did a few years ago where it was like the pure white kit with the green collar and the green trim with the Celtic cross.
Yeah, okay. New Balance, yep.
The New Balance one. That was really, really nice. That was in the shop, and I think it was on sale because it was for the previous season. Then I kept just going like, right, I'll go and get it, and then like I waited until like the next season started out and they had none left. I was like, you bastard. And now we try to get it, try to get a hand on gold dust. So, you know, I'll find one day.
That's funny enough, another 6-0 win associated with that. James Forrest scored 4 at McDermott wearing it. It was that kit, because that's two kits associated with a 6-0 win. We've had. What about you, Mark? What's one that stands out in your mind? An iconic great away kit?
Oh, of course, the Bumblebee kit. That was a class.
Which one?
Act.
The Tony Mowbray one or the Tommy Burns one?
Tony Mowbray one. I love that kit. You know what I mean? And sometimes you see a photograph of it and you go, God, I didn't realise Larson played with that. And then you go, oh, I didn't realise that Cadet played in that. And sometimes you kind of, because you forget that it lasted 2 years back then. I'm thinking 96, but it lasted 2 years back then. But that kit was just an outstanding kit. I mean, even if they brought that back out tomorrow, I mean, that'd be a bestseller, I feel. I know it was quite bizarre at the time. And I think I thought David was talking about the kit, the zigzags with the gold. I think you're talking about the one, Phil, with the one under Lennon with the tenants on it. Phil's talking, I know that one. No, he's talking about the one with the kind of zigzags. You remember the players were advertising it with like fluorescent tubes? It was the advert. It was Sinclair and Tierney. I think that's the one David was talking about. When I David, the kind of zigzags here. That,
was it the one you got?
4 years ago, New Balance.
I had that. That was the one with Scott Byrne won the Legal Bay Park. That goal, I'm sure.
It was that.
That was that kit. Aye.
But Bumblebee for me. I mean,
it's good. A lot of love for the Black
I thought this one was a belter as well.
I should have put my Black Magic on the night.
Do you
remember this one?
Yeah, Larson leg break one. Yeah, that's a bad moment, sadly, but it's a great kit.
My dad's got that kit in his wardrobe, never wears it. I'm like, you fucking realize how lucky you are to have that football kit, you old bastard. Honestly,
that's a lovely kit.
We talked about it on. We did the Joseph Venglos season, and we've done the John Barnes season on Bustalgia. And both me and Russell said, "What's the first memory that comes back to your mind when you see that kit?" Other than obviously the Larson leg break, which is a grim one, it was both of us said a Reggie Blinker own goal at Pittodrie. I don't know if you remember it. It's Jonathan Gould comes for a cross and he heads it past Jonathan Gould, and it's like that kit. Unfortunately, I see in a wee kit, if it has a great result associated with it, it can live forever. But sadly, in the case of that black and green one, and it is a belter, it's unfortunately associated with a few bad moments at that time for Celtic. Own goals by Blinker, Henrik Larsson leg breaks and so on. But it is a nice kit, to be fair. But I say there's a lot of love for the Black Magic one from the 03-04 season. Obviously, the Black Tenants one from Lennon's third season, 2012-13, with the tricolour that you could fold it up. That was a belter as well. But yeah, I always find that black kits are usually like the black away kits, always really smart, so they always go down really well, and especially the one that we've got this season. We were talking earlier on about the whole Adidas thing. Totally agree with David's point. As long as people keep buying it, Adidas will just look at it and go, well, that's working, and that's why they'll churn out more. That kit, I reckon, this season is probably one of the biggest selling Adidas kits. Out of all the teams Adidas do, they'll probably look at their sales for this season and go, that Celtic away kit was probably one of the biggest sellers, I reckon, worldwide, because that's an amazing kit. And if you lean into nostalgia, retro, you'll always, get a winner. If they did like a revamp of the Bumblebee, it would sell like crazy if they did that next season. Mark, you were mentioning the Bumblebee again, because it's a favourite, it's a cult classic, and again, it just leans into nostalgia as well, because of what people envision when they see it. But yeah, that was just over an hour we've done there. Mark, obviously you need to shoot off at the back of 10 anyway for like work the next month, so we will wrap it up in the next couple of minutes, guys. But yeah, as I said at the top of the show, obviously Russell's doing his big move this week. He'll be back on Sunday evening. I believe the plan is for it to be a Sunday sesh, but coming up in the next few days, obviously tomorrow night it'll be Bustalgia. I'll be on with Liam as usual, and I believe Jonathan Boyce will be filling in for Russell, and I might get one more as well on for that one, because it is a Scott Brown special tomorrow night. We're going to have a player focus one. We're going to concentrate on old captain, leader, legend, very in vogue at the moment, obviously with the show at the Hydro coming up. But yeah, I thought I would take a break from the seasons ones, because unfortunately a lot of the seasons I've got left to do, they're no very good ones. There's a few bad ones still to come, and I'm pushing it back for another week. So I was like, who's a player one I can do? And I was like, Scott Brown, perfect, with obviously doing all the press conferences this week. Plenty to talk about Bruni. Lots of iconic moments, so that should be good fun to go over. Saturday, of course, well, it's international break. There is no PMP this weekend, because just need to twiddle our thumbs if you want to watch the Scotland game, or if you want to watch the Ireland game, whatever. So But yeah, we are we know PMP. I know we done a Scotland game PMP once, but that was a one-off for the qualifier against the Ukraine. It was quite a big important game, which sadly Scotland blew. But now we won't be doing any sort of a PMP for that. But yeah, Sunday Blether will be back on as usual, brunch time. And he's muted himself. I will unmute you, David. No, you need to unmute yourself.
The cat was fucking making all this
noise.
No
worries.
Sunday should be the usual time, around 11:30. Should be all good for that.
No.
I'll see what we can find to talk about this week. There's always something going on. I always like to try and find something that we haven't spoken about already, but we shall find something.
You always will.
I always find something.
Yeah, and
always turn to the viewers if need be. Yeah.
Indeed. And to answer Steve O'Mac, no, there will not be an Amido Baldi retrospective. A Bobo Baldi one, maybe. I think I could get something from that, but Amido, no, I don't think so. I can't see that one happening. But yeah, it's a Sunday sessions planned for Sunday evening, so we double bill as the plan anyway. And hopefully everything goes well for Russell's move-in. So yeah, a couple more shows to go, myself on it. And yeah, then Russell will be back. And then hopefully on Monday, we'll see a Monday Club on a Monday. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But yeah, guys, we're going to head off now. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Remember, hit that like button on the way out if you've not done it yet. Of course, if you're a new viewer, hit that subscribe button as well. We'd appreciate it massively. And yeah, we're off ski now. So thanks everyone again for watching. And we shall catch you later.
See you later, guys.
I mean, you've all that stuff at the start. You know, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now. And you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.